With the rise in number of cases in the city of Bengaluru, we see the civic body, the BBMP, has decided to involve the resident welfare associations. Unlike Bombay or Delhi, we see the resident welfare associations. In fact, there are over 2,000 of them in the city of Bengaluru, and they have a list of activities which they have to do, from ensuring that people wear masks to also maintaining social distancing. We see that people also, in fact, they are responsible in informing the civic body that if the person who is in home quarantine, whether or not they are violating rules. In fact, we understand some of them even tell us that their role is, apart from informing or being the watchdogs, they also ensure, be it the food deliveries or groceries, there is no sort of even, no touch or minimum exposure. So to understand more, let's also go across to a couple of residents who are joining me. In fact, let me also go, Ashok, if you could tell me what is the role of the Resident Welfare Association?
Yeah, the Residents Welfare Association really is about looking at how we can help each other as residents and the authorities in preventing, in this particular case, in preventing the spread of coronavirus. So far in Bangalore, we've had a mixture of good administration and good fortune, and our cases are nowhere near as high as they would be, let's say, as they are in Bombay, Mumbai, or Kolkata, or Delhi, or Chennai. However, that is no reason for complacency. So we are doing something which is primarily, if you wish, an informational job. We ensure that the residents are getting adequate and correct information, because there is so much of rubbish floating around on WhatsApp that very often, people don't know, is this true, is this not true? Right. So one is we ensure that there's correct information.
So basically you're telling us that you're also combating fake news.
Yeah, we have to combat fake news. Right. It is one of our biggest jobs, actually, or most annoying jobs, is to combat fake news, because people get news and rumors and spread it, and you have to just control that all the time. That's one part. The second part is ensuring that the authorities are informed of violations, are informed of any issues that have cropped up. For instance, if there is somebody who has fallen sick and has reported to us, has told us that they are sick, it is our duty. And this has been mandated by the BBMP. I'm not sure how lawful that is to ask us to do this, but it is something that has been mandated. Right. And if we do get to hear of a case of somebody who's got what the BBMP calls ILI, which is influenza-like illness or coronavirus, is to inform them, is to also let people know what kind of treatment opportunities they have, where they can go, what they can do, how they can deal with this. The third part, besides the violations, and then you hand the violations over to the authorities, and the authorities do what they have to do. The third part is actually to look at initiatives that would help our residents lead life in a slightly more comfortable fashion. Somebody else will talk about this in more detail, but it is to help the vulnerable, to ensure that children are not exposed. That's all those things.
Let me go across to Meena for that. Meena, can you also tell us about, things are not the same as before Corona, because now we understand there is relaxation in place, people are more coming out, there are morning walkers. What are the kind of violations that you see and should be reported? What have you all done? Have you all come across violations and have you all reported?
We do come across violations, we do report them. See, we have to understand that RWAs, right? We are a RWA in a BDA layout, which means these are all independent houses. Whereas there is a RWA, which is a gated community or a society. In a society, you have somebody who's a security, somebody who's monitoring. So it's far more easier in those RWAs to confront or to monitor things which are happening.
So have you reported violations before? Have you?
We have reported.
What was the step that you'll...
See, the thing is to call 100. Now there are just very few people who want to even call 100. So that's an issue. Typically it comes back.
That's a challenge within the RWA.
It's not. It's a challenge for the society, right? Because somewhere there is a lack of faith in making a report. So that's a societal gap rather than an individual or a RWA gap. So this is something that we need to work on, because as we are growing and as cases are likely to increase in Bengaluru as well, we will need citizens to come forward. Pushing it to RWA in an open layout like this, I don't know how much it will help, because how much can the RWA, we can't track every household.
Correct, right. Let me go across to, in fact, Sumi. Sumi, if you can tell us, what are the activities that are taken over here as a resident welfare association? We believe, whether it's grocery delivery or food delivery, how are things, streamlined here?
So we have this group of volunteers who would take the list through the WhatsApp from everybody, especially senior citizens, to pick up medicines and groceries, deliver it. And it's not that every time they would go door to door unless it was absolutely required, and give it to the security. That was one way, and we are continuing with it. It's not that we've stopped because it's relaxed now.
Okay.
Secondly, the PKs and the BBMP staff, all during lockdown 1 and 2, of course, everything was very, they were careful. But even now, we are continuing to monitor them. We have given them masks, and not just one mask. We've given them 3 cotton masks, which are washable, reusable. We've given them gloves, and we are still monitoring them so that, they also are, they are the most vulnerable.
Right.
And continuous monitoring of the clean ship.
Okay.
And we also don't depend totally on the BBMP. We have also a private person whom we keep calling and pay a hefty sum.
Basically, you're coordinating with the suppliers as well.
Yes, and then as far as food delivery is concerned, very, very strictly we have told everybody it has to be only at the gate. You're not ringing the bell, getting into the lift or entering a home.
So you'll have instructed even the security guards.
Yes, very much. And we've also told most people, like, if the security guard has to go home, please do not take care of him.
How often sanitization happens?
Sanitization for the apartments and the houses, each one is doing individually.
Okay.
Because again, we're not a gated community, so there are a lot of disadvantages because of that. As far as the roads are concerned, it's the basic sweeping that's happening. Though we want fumigation also to take place.
Right. Well, thank you, Sumi, for that. In fact, we understand from the Resident Welfare Association, the residents telling us that there are various steps taken by them, from ensuring people not wearing masks, maintaining distancing, also informing the BBMP what are the kind of action that needs to be taken on ground, involving the police officers as well. Now, these are the kind of steps, and also instructing the security guards from sanitization. Now, these are some of the steps that are being taken by Resident Welfare Association across the city of Bengaluru. With video journalist Pradeep, this is Sreeja reporting for Mirror Now in Bengaluru.